Flying might seem routine, but behind those polite smiles and professional uniforms, flight attendants are navigating a complex ballet of efficiency, safety, and service. And while most passengers aim to be pleasant and cooperative, many unknowingly commit habits that silently drive the crew up the cabin walls. The truth is, every flight is a performance, and while attendants are trained to keep it smooth on the surface, there are pet peeves they wish passengers understood. The kind that doesn't make the safety announcement, but absolutely shapes the in-flight experience. From boarding blunders to mid-air missteps, here's what flight attendants secretly loathe, and what you can do to make their job and your journey a whole lot easier. The problems start before the plane even leaves the ground. One of the most irritating behaviors flight attendants encounter is passengers who rush to use the bathroom during the boarding process. It might feel innocent, even practical, after all. It's better than needing it mid-flight, right? But what many don't realize is that boarding is a tightly timed operation. Every passenger who ducks into the lavatory causes a ripple effect. The boarding line stalls, the head count is thrown off, and crew members are forced to wait for a lavatory to be cleaned or restocked while juggling time-sensitive tasks. Using the airport restroom ahead of time, which is roomier, cleaner, and doesn't interfere with operations, is a small choice that makes a big difference. Closely tied to this is the chaos caused by overpacking personal items. There are always those who attempt to carry the equivalent of a studio apartment on board: a roller bag, a backpack, a tote, a neck pillow the size of a golden retriever, and maybe even a souvenir bag swinging from one shoulder. Cabin storage is limited. When people hoard space with multiple items, it forces other passengers into frustrating situations and puts flight attendants in the position of overhead bin negotiators. Worse, passengers often stash their bags several rows ahead or behind their seat for convenience, creating confusion and conflict. Sticking to one personal item and one carry-on, and storing items within your seat area when possible, helps boarding go smoother and reduces unnecessary drama. The aircraft cabin is a sealed, pressurized tube, circulating recycled air. Whatever you open, spray, or unleash inside it, everyone else is forced to experience it, whether they want to or not. Few things make flight attendants internally groan like the sudden eruption of strong smells. This could be pungent food, heavy perfume, or the unmistakable odor of tired feet. The moment someone slips off their shoes and releases hours of accumulated sock steam into the cabin, the olfactory misery begins. And while attendants rarely confront passengers directly, rest assured, they notice and they suffer. Keeping smells neutral and your footwear intact, unless you're absolutely confident your socks are odorless, is a quiet act of social grace that benefits everyone. Passengers often enter a zone once they're seated. Headphones go on, movies start playing, and reality fades. But this detachment becomes a problem during service. One of the crew's most common frustrations is the passenger who ignores or fails to respond during beverage service. The drink cart has to keep moving. When someone is fully tuned out and can't hear the attendant standing right next to them, it slows the entire row, causes delays, and can even trigger minor confrontations. The fix is simple: keeping one earbud out during service, or making eye contact occasionally is enough to show awareness and keep things flowing. It's not about conversation. It's about respect and efficiency. There's also the issue of passengers who spot an empty row mid-flight and ask to switch seats. It may look harmless, but there's more to cabin seating than meets the eye. Aircraft weight distribution, emergency evacuation assignments, and in-flight service plans are all based on where people are seated. Randomly switching seats complicates the crew's job and could lead to safety issues or confusion during an emergency. Booking the space you want in advance or requesting a change before boarding is always the better path. Once in the air, it's best to treat your assigned seat like a commitment, at least until the wheels touch down. One of the biggest battles flight attendants face is enforcing safety rules during turbulence or descent. The seatbelt sign dings, indicating the presence of turbulence, and yet some passengers immediately rise to open an overhead bin or stretch their legs. This behavior is not just inconsiderate, it's dangerous. When turbulence strikes, even a brief jolt can send someone flying into a ceiling panel, another passenger, or worse, into the path of a rolling service cart. Flight attendants themselves buckle in during these moments. If they're sitting down, you absolutely should be too. Unless it's a genuine emergency, remaining seated is the safest option for everyone. Then there are the repeat offenders who hammer the call button like it's a buzzer on a game show. Wanting water or a blanket is understandable, but pinging the crew repeatedly for trivial things, updates or questions about a delayed flight, is a fast track to being quietly ignored. Flight attendants triage. They respond based on need and urgency. Constant call button pressing signals entitlement, not emergency, and the person who uses it respectfully will always get better attention. The trash bag makes its round, and instead of handing over wrappers or used tissues, some passengers shove their garbage into the seat back pocket. These pockets aren't trash cans. They're shared spaces meant for items like magazines or safety. Cards, not balled up napkins or candy wrappers. Worse, some passengers hold onto trash until the drink cart arrives, then try to hand it over as the attendant is balancing trays and hot beverages. This complicates the job and increases the chance of accidents or spills. Being attentive during trash pickup and treating communal spaces with respect makes a massive difference. Another behavior that grinds gears? Tuning out the safety presentation. It's tempting to scroll through your phone, keep earbuds in, or close your eyes. But safety demonstrations exist for a reason, and even frequent flyers benefit from a refresher. Evacuation procedures, life vest locations, and exit strategies vary by aircraft. Pretending not to notice or ignoring the crew entirely sends a dismissive message and reduces overall cabin awareness in emergencies. It costs nothing to pay attention. And it could make all the difference if something goes wrong. Touching a flight attendant to get their attention is an all too common offense. While a tap on the shoulder might seem harmless, it quickly becomes uncomfortable when passengers grab arms, waists, or even ankles. Personal space and professional. Boundaries matter, especially in a crowded work environment. The better approach is to speak up politely, wave, or use the call button. Physical contact should always be the last resort and never invasive. Similarly, pulling out your phone to film a crew member during a disagreement is a growing problem in the age of viral videos. Recording without consent is intrusive, stressful, and often escalates situations that could otherwise be handled calmly. If a concern arises, it should be reported through official channels after landing. Flight attendants are there to ensure safety, not to serve as unwilling participants in social media content. Respecting their right to a workplace free of harassment benefits the entire cabin. Many passengers wander towards the back of the plane to stretch their legs, only to settle in the galley area to chat, lean on carts, or check their phones. What's often misunderstood is that the galley isn't a lounge. It's a critical workspace. It's where meals are prepared, medical issues are managed, and service plans are organized. Blocking this area is like hanging out in a restaurant kitchen during a dinner rush. It may feel casual, but it's disruptive and can interfere with the crew's ability to do their job. A quick stretch is fine, but lingering in the galley, that's a no-go. Ignoring flight instructions during landing also ranks high on the annoyance list. As the plane descends, seatbacks need to be upright, tray tables stowed, and electronics secured. Yet some passengers pretend to be asleep or claim not to hear. The announcements. This isn't about power or obedience, it's about safety. In the unlikely event of an emergency landing, those seat adjustments genuinely impact survivability. Cooperating isn't optional, it's essential. As the plane lands, passengers gather their belongings. But then, the final offense, leaving behind a disaster zone. Empty wrappers, spilled drinks, tissues stuffed in corners, tray tables smeared with food residue, all left behind for the next crew to handle. What many don't realize is that turnaround times between flights can be as short as 30 minutes. Flight attendants don't get a break. They reset the entire cabin before the next wave of travelers boards, taking a moment to clean up your area, toss your trash, and leave the seat. How you found it is a simple act of courtesy that leaves a lasting impression. Also worth noting, window seats, while offering stunning views, are significantly colder due to the external temperatures at cruising altitude. The cold seeps through the aircraft walls, and in lighter summer clothing, this can make for an uncomfortable ride. If you're a window seat regular, layer up or ask for a blanket in advance. It's a small detail, but it can vastly improve your in-flight comfort. Air travel doesn't have to be miserable. With just a little awareness and basic courtesy, you can improve not only your own experience, but that of the crew and everyone around you. Flight attendants aren't just there to hand out drinks. They're trained professionals responsible for your safety, comfort, and care. Respect their time, their space, and their role. Don't wait for turbulence to understand their value. If flying is a shared journey, then kindness is the smoothest way to travel. Now that you know what drives flight attendants up the cabin wall, you won't just get a polite smile. You might even get a genuine one. Fly smart, stay aware, and remember, the skies are a lot more friendly when you are too.